Hi, my name is Ashley Elias, and I have chosen the book If You Give a Mouse a Cookie for my project. I chose this book because it's often pretty popular among kids, and they've heard it a lot. It also is pretty repetitive in the reading of it, and we are doing our project on skip counting and repeated addition, so I believe that those tie in together. In the lesson plan that you'll find attached, we discuss the prerequisites needed. Students will need skip counting patterns, basic multiplication, repeated addition, and equal groups. The materials needed for the project would be this Mouse's Cookie Multiplication recording sheet, a red and a blue dice. This is going to be a table group activity, so I believe that you'll need several different pairs of dice. You will need the cookie template and then some palms for it. What we are going to do is they will have again, red and blue dice. They will roll them at the same time. The red dice is going to represent the number they are skip counting by, and the blue dice will be how many groups they are going to skip count. So they would say, roll it, and they would get a 5 and a 3. They're going to go back to this recording sheet, and they are going to add their blue dice number, their red dice number, how many groups of toppings. So like this says my cookie has, if they got a 5 and a 3, they would say 3 groups of 5 toppings. And then you're going to do the repeated addition equation in there, and then write the multiplication equation in there, and then the total toppings on their cookie. I added a little bonus on there just so I can learn a little bit more about students as we go. And this would be, what's your favorite cookie? Mine is oatmeal raisin, so my cookie would have purple palms to represent the the raisin on the oatmeal cookie. So after they filled out their diary, they're going to go back in and pick their palms. And so, for example, I rolled 5 as my skip count number and 3 as the grouping. So I will have 3 groups of 5 on my cookie. So they're going to arrange that on their cookie, and then they'll raise their hand, have the teacher come and check it. Once the teacher checks it, then they can begin gluing them down on there. There are ways to modify it. For struggling learners, you can do either one-on-one, or if you have several struggling learners in your group, you could do let them work together as a group to create their problem. You can provide their pre-made toppings, which their palms would be their pre-made toppings, or you could do allow them to draw their groups instead of the toppings, like the palms, if that's more, if that's easier for them. For advanced learners, use larger numbers. You could have them roll the red dice to find their skip count, and then roll both dice again, and they could do that many groups. So say we rolled it, we've got their 5, that's what they're going to skip count by, and then they get 9. Make them do 9 groups of 5, and do it that way to make it a little bit harder and challenging. You can also create 2-step cookie problems. Have them roll their dice twice and create those 2 problems based on the number on their dice. So there's ways to make it more challenging for them, or to modify it down to make it easier for them. We're going to read the book to intro the lesson, and then you can ask questions like, if the mouse wanted to add toppings to his cookie, how could we organize them? How can multiplication help us count groups of toppings? Explain that the students will create their own topping and use multiplication to represent the toppings that they add. The math concepts targeted was understanding multiplication as equal groups, skip counting to find a total, representing multiplication with models, writing multiplication equations, connecting concrete representations to abstract mathematical thinking, and explaining mathematical reasoning. The TEKS that are addressed in this specific activity, I created it for 3rd grade. So the TEKS that I found that addressed it were 3.1A and G, mathematical process standards. The student uses mathematical processes to acquire and demonstrate mathematical understanding. The student is expected to apply mathematics to problems arising in everyday life, society, and the workplace. And then G would be display, explain, and justify mathematical ideas and arguments using precise mathematical language in written or oral communication. And then also 3.4 would be number and operations. The student applies mathematical process standards to develop and use strategies and methods for whole number computations to solve math to solve problems with efficiency and accuracy. The student is expected to represent multiplication facts by using a variety of approaches such as repeated addition, equal size groups, arrays, area models, equal jumps on a number line, and skip counting. And then for the assessment, we will observe the students as they create equal groups of toppings on their paper cookie, skip count accurately to determine the total number of toppings, use repeated addition and multiplication to represent their model, and explain their mathematical thinking using appropriate vocabulary such as equal groups, skip counting, repeated addition, multiplication, and product. And then the NCTM standards that we addressed were number and operations, problem solving, representation, communication. And then the CCRS standards that we addressed were numeric reasoning, problem solving, and communication. And then to summarize their understanding, if they choose, I'm not going to make students present if they're not comfortable doing that, but if they want to present their final cookie and their recording sheet, just to clarify their understanding, that's great. Again, I created this lesson with one of my friends, Angela Hitt. She's been a teacher for about 15 years. She was a great help with creating it. And then the third grade level is where I created this lesson to fit, because they are developing an understanding of multiplication through equal groups, skip counting, repeated addition, and writing multiplication equations. So I tried this lesson out with my son. He is going into third grade. He really liked it. He was engaged. He said it was fun. He thought that his friends would like doing it. So I thought it would be a good fit, and I hope that you can use it and enjoy it as well.